Josie and the Pussycats is the greatest movie of all time. It is better than Godfather, Star Wars, and Jaws combined because Josie and the Pussycats is amazing and it makes me feel good and it is the greatest movie of all time. The movie is fun because it's about the importance of friendship. The good people are good friends and are sad when they stop being friends but are happy when they become friends again. The bad people don't have friends and do evil things to make friends, but then they get caught, but they make friends anyways.
Wait.
The whole movie is a critique of capitalist consumer culture, which is important because capitalist consumer culture should be destroyed and replaced with a better system. Can you think of a better system? Describe it in the comments below. Josie and the Pussycats is the greatest movie of all time. It has this joke about Captain and Tennille that makes me laugh every time.
Love will keep us together. But guess what? It didn't.
This shot where the band nearly gets run over by Alan Cumming is amazing. It's not the greatest shot of all time. This shot in Stagecoach is the greatest shot of all time. But it's really fun cinematography and is really exciting to watch. And the whole film is exciting to watch and has bright colors and loud music and is the greatest movie of all time. Every song is awesome and was done by the Fountains of Wayne guy and Babyface. We don't have time to play the whole soundtrack, so we'll just play every song at once. There's a love subplot with a hunky idiot, but that's not important.
Actually, it's Alan.
Guess what's with the initial anyway? It didn't work for Sheila E. It doesn't work for you.
The whole movie ends with everybody being fined and an awesome rock concert and a big montage, and it makes me feel really, 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 really good inside. Then Josie tells us to think for ourselves, which is an important lesson.
It's cool if you like it. It's all right if you don't.
Josie and the Pussycats is the greatest movie of all time. It came from a time when there were a lot of other high-quality, low-budget comedies that were targeted towards white teenage women. All of them were great and subversive, and you should watch them all. Here's a list. My girlfriend loves this one. My friend Sarah loves this one. She's really funny and does stand-up comedy. Check her out on Twitter. Also check out Josie and the Pussycats because it is the greatest movie of all time. These films are politically subversive, and that point needs to be stressed. The fact that they are stories centered by the actions and needs of women opens them up to a different type of politics than normal Hollywood films, which are usually movies about a white man who wants something and gets it.
You can't play anything else but All-Time Center. You're too small.
All right, go get it, kid.
Of these films, Stick It especially stands out as politically radical. The movie's problems are resolved when bitter rivals join forces to stage a coup against the systemic order. It's a sports film where the conflict is resolved by people choosing not to compete. That's insane. There's a Marxist conceit that it's easier for us to imagine an asteroid hitting the Earth than to imagine the end of capitalism, but these films have a very large imagination and can elicit better realities. In a lot of ways, Josie and the Pussycats is a dystopian film. It takes place in a universe in which the people living in it are inundated with product placements like a Stalinist cult of personality, and the prevailing mass culture hypnotizes them into a state of constant consumption, at points making them act against their will.
I want a Big Mac.
What? Mel, you're a vegetarian.
I know, but suddenly I want one.
Like a period film, movies based in the far-off past and distant future, Josie is focused on immersive world building, specifically one where the background of the film implies a larger tension than the one you find in the foreground. Except Josie and the Pussycats is dystopian in premise, but not tone. Dystopian futures are bleak, uncompromising, and the victories are often illusionary. Josie and the Pussycats is the opposite of bleak. It's a celebratory film. People scream all the time in the movie. I counted every moment of people screaming in the movie, and it counts for 9.5 minutes, or 10% of the total runtime of the film. Inside of this, love sustains itself. Characters hug each other and embrace. Victories are palpable, with no sense of irony. The accomplishments are real and circumvents but not supplants systemic problems. This disconnect from normal dystopian narratives is because it's a story told through women and their relationship with other women. As a straight, cisgendered white man, Harrison Ford needs fantastic circumstances in order to feel alienated. Not to say that a white man does not have his struggles or capitalism doesn't alienate all of us, but in the real life 2019, women, queer people, people of color do not need the conceits of science fiction to tell a story where they're in a world that actively plots against them.
This is not Total Request Live. It's more like Total Request Dead.
And when you are in these circumstances, you learn coping skills and survival techniques, and empathy and community are the biggest ones. Because in real life, it's not one hero's journey that changes the world, but the journeys of many heroes and heroines working together. It's brute force that destroys a Death Star, but it's music, a kiss, and declarations of love that emancipates a crowd. Josie and the Pussycats was made with a lot of love. Everybody seems as if they were having fun making the movie. Alan Cumming was having fun. Tara Reid was having fun. This extra was having fun. Missy Pyle was always doing weird shit in the background. Parker Posey looks as if she was having the time of her life.
I'm Fiona. Welcome to your party.
Parker Posey puts more effort into this Archie comic book movie than some actors put in their entire career. Parker Posey could have carried this entire movie on her back, but she didn't have to because everybody's performance was awesome because Josie and the Pussycats is the greatest movie of all time. This is a film essay, but I'm using no critical arguments to support my thesis that Josie and the Pussycats is the greatest movie of all time because the fact that Josie and the Pussycats is the greatest movie of all time is self-evident. If you like this film essay, you can see more film essays by subscribing to my Patreon. Just kidding, no Patreon. This is the only film essay I'll ever write because there's no reason to talk about any other film because Josie and the Pussycats is the greatest movie of all time. For the love of God, please subscribe to my channel anyways. If I don't get 1,000 subs within a year, YouTube will kill me. Like and subscribe. What do you think about comments? Write your comments on comments in the comments below. I'm talking about film, but this is not a true YouTube film essay. If I really wanted to do a YouTube film essay, I'd talk like I was bored and talk in questions like, is it really ethical to explore the boundaries outside the frame? What does Boondock Saints 2 teach us about mise-en-scène? Mise-en-scène?
Mise-en-scène.
Mise-en-scène. Mise-en-scene? No, mise-en-scène.
Mise-en-scène.
Mise-en-scène. Mise-en-scène.
Sure.
And while we're talking about film crit, how come when we talk about genre and cult canon films, we're always talking about manly genres like horror and action and superhero movies? What about girly movies? Teen comedies, melodramas, musicals, romantic comedies, young adult adaptations. These are all rich genres with long histories, and they all have a library of incredible movies, and they speak to us just as much about our culture and our ideology as Troll 2 or Star Wars does. Watching girly movies make you feel girly, and feeling girly is fun. Why do we let the consensus of 19-year-old college bros control the conversation about film online? They're literally the stupidest people in the world. Like, look at the top 20 films of all time on Internet Movie Database. Are those really the top 20 films? It looks like a list of posters you'd find in dorm rooms. Movies are older than cardboard boxes. They have a rich, diverse, dynamic history that spans the globe, but we let movies made with one specific tone dominate 99% of the conversation. And this is a serious problem because it distracts us from the fact that Josie and the Pussycats is the greatest film of all time. Josie and the Pussycats is a great movie because it's warm and loving and consistent, and it's funny like an episode of The Simpsons during its prime.
Dum dum dum. Ooh, brainwashing. Ooh, help, we're being brainwashed. Diet Coke is the new Pepsi One.
And it's about something. And it's always there. And it grows with me as I grow. It's heartwarming, but sharp, and that's a difficult balance to make. Josie and the Pussycats feels good to me. And I think that's what a great film is. A great film doesn't need to make a huge statement to have a huge impression on someone. Nothing in the world needs to be big in order to do big things. This small movie hangs over my head 1,000 times more than Star Wars or The Godfather or Jaws. I carry Josie and the Pussycats through my life. And that's what makes a movie important. It climbs into your chest and it lives there for the rest of your life. I first watched Josie and the Pussycats in 2002 when I was 15 years old. It was on cable, I watched it in my parents' bedroom, and since then I've seen it over 30 times because Josie and the Pussycats is the greatest movie of all time. I know every line of this movie. One time it was playing at a bar on mute and I ignored all my friends to watch the movie while I mouthed the lines to myself. My current girlfriend told me that during our first date, she decided she was going to fuck me because I told her that Josie and the Pussycats was my favorite film.
Why do you keep telling people that?
Josie and the Pussycats is the greatest movie ever made. If you've seen Josie and the Pussycats, you should watch it again. If you have never seen Josie and the Pussycats, you should watch the movie. If you watch it and don't think it was the greatest movie of all time, you should look inside yourself and reevaluate your tastes. You should also watch the 2008 Speed Racer movie because that movie is really bright and colorful and awesome and makes me feel good, but it's not the greatest movie of all time because the greatest movie of all time is Josie and the Pussycats.